thinking that I'm not worthy of my success from a couple of failures. That's just not how it works. So essentially, it's knowing that your identity will quite literally build your reality. I think that's the real deal. What's up? What's happening? It's Jasiah, and I woke up with the thought that your identity is quite literally the foundation of your reality. Who you see yourself as and how you perceive yourself is going to be what creates your reality. And what I mean by this is when we have a perception on ourselves, when we have these identity crises, we form habits from them. So when I look in the mirror and I see myself as somebody who is a content creator who has influence and is simply just being paid to exist from a very spiritual standpoint, no matter what that looks like, the currency is me. I am the currency. I am abundance. Then I center my whole life around that belief. So if that's my belief, then my habits will align with that belief. And I mean that because that is who I believe myself to be. So because I believe myself to be a content creator, I now adopt the habit of creating content. Because I have the perception on myself that I have influence, then it's instilled within me that the moves that I make, the decisions that I choose will have those others watching me because I have influence. And that's just what my reality contains because that's what I believe myself to be. So what you believe yourself to be will be the outcome of your reality. Your identity is quite literally everything, along with your self-concept and your self-worth, because it is your self-concept. When you think of yourself, what is the concept? What is the concept of you? What is the energy that you have tied? For me, I think of just the concept of me is loving. The concept of me is patience. The concept of me is intellectual. So because I have this concept of me, and that's what I genuinely think of when I think of me, then it's now knowing that when I'm going through these issues in life, when I'm going through these difficulties, when I'm going through these situations that call for me to look for a solution, which is an opportunity, like I say all the time, anytime we are met with turmoil, anytime that we are met with difficult situations, it is an opportunity for us to problem solve, to create a solution for the problem. And a lot of times it's so easy to be like, oh, it's a problem, it's an issue. When I think it's so important we look at it from a perspective of this is an obstacle that I can use for my favor, that I can use to further enhance my growth. For an example, I have outgrown a lot of my family just because I don't resonate with the beliefs the the environment that they choose to surround themselves with, which is completely okay. But it doesn't make it easier for me to just be like, okay, bye. Like, I've known you my whole life. We're done. I don't want a relationship with you. It's not as easy as it's said. But when it came down to it, I looked at distancing myself from a particular cousin of mine that I'm very close with in an aspect of I need to make space by distancing myself from you so that the right people can come in. And that in a way is allowing my problem to become something that enhances my growth. If I'm looking to enhance my growth by enhancing the circle that I choose to surround myself with, then I can't have people in my circle that don't resonate with the version of myself that I'm being. Therefore, they have to be removed and made way for the new people. They need to be removed to make space for those who are coming in. And because I now look at it in that aspect, I now look at it that way, that problem that was thrown at me, that issue, or that of which was giving me turmoil, sadness, just not these positive emotions, I turn it and I flip it into making that turmoil, that issue work for me, because it's not that I'm not upset that she has to go or that I have to distance myself from her, but I'm more faithful that when she is released, when I'm distanced from her, the right person who is fulfilling what I wanted from her will come in, because there's space for that person to come in. So if you take that and you apply it with not just your relationships, not just outgrowing other people, but you apply that with all aspects of your life, it's knowing that these issues, these problems, they're not problems, and they're not these tests that people like to call them. I don't resonate with saying that the universe likes to test us, because I believe the universe is a co-creator. It's an extension of us. So therefore, it's not necessarily testing us, it's putting us in these positions to see, okay, like, you said this is who you are, right? You said you're wanting success. So when you're met with failure, how will you show up? And then if you're the type to show up and just give up, then you are essentially not that hungry for the success. And I don't even like resonate with being hungry for the success, but you don't desire success that much to the point where one failure will knock you off the pivot. Because in that one failure, the universe may or may not throw in a couple more failures to just see how you as a person will take the failure and what you will do with the failure. Because the person who is successful does not mind taking a whole bunch of failures to get to the success, because they know the success is inevitable. So one failure, two failure, however many failures doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when you reach the success is inevitable. So why would I allow failures to stop me from the end result? And I feel like I kind of just lost my train of thought with that, but my genuine point here is basically, when you're in a state of mind knowing that the end goal, the end result will come to pass, then it's not allowing the circumstances to derive you from the pathway. And it's not allowing these circumstances, these issues, these, what I like to call opportunities, to show up as who we say we are. Then it's ensuring that we we construct that version of ourselves every single time a circumstance appears. The successful me, the one that it will inevitably meet success, be will not be I won't be talked out of my success from a couple failures. I won't be thinking that I'm not worthy of my success from a couple of failures. That's just not how it works. So essentially, it's knowing that your identity will quite literally build your reality. And not only will it build your reality, but it will create sustainability. When you are in a state of mind where your actions, your decisions are derived from your identity, then it's knowing that at the end of the day, nothing outside of those circumstances matter. Nothing outside of that identity matters, because the circumstances are subject to change. But the identity, the self-concept, the self-worth will never, ever come to change, because that is simply just what you're built off. That's your foundation. That's who you are. So if you were to look at anything outside of you to find comfort, if you're looking at anything outside of you to reassure you that you're on the right path, then It's knowing, or it's coming to the realization that the trust should come from within you, and it should come from your identity. It should come from your self-worth. It should come from your self-concept. It's kind of hot, but I've always said it, like, I don't think the universe tests us. I think it's essentially just these opportunities for us to show up as the version of ourselves that we say we are, and to continuously repeat that way that we show up, be consistent in the way that we show up when these circumstances choose to pop up in our life. And within the repetition, we build character, and within character, it's character development, and character development is your self-concept, it's your identity. And therefore, when you're going through these circumstances, they're meant to mold you into the person that you are meant to become. And if you don't like who you're becoming, or what is being built when it comes to your self-worth, what is being built when it comes to just who you are and how you show up, the beauty of being a human is the free will. My love, you don't have to be the same person you were 5 years ago, because the people in your environment are the same people from 5 years ago and they didn't grow. And I'm not saying to ever compare yourself to your environment, but what I am saying is, do not allow everything that you know to be the end all be all of who you become. Do not allow the environments that raised you and who you are right now to be a reflection of that, because the point of life is to grow. So if you're coming from an environment that's stagnated, that is filled with looped cycles of trauma, looped cycles of scarcity, then it's knowing that you want to be the one to break out of that, because you deserve a life different from the one that you grew up in. And if you grew up in the environment that is loving, and that, you essentially don't have any problems, I don't know how that is. So I can't tell you to grow out of that, or I can't tell you what to do when it comes to that. But what I can say is that the point of living and the point of life is to always evolve and is to always grow. So it's always just asking yourself, how can I become better than I was before? That's really my motivating factor when I wake up. How can I be better than I was, not just yesterday, not just a year ago, not just 5 years ago, but how can I be the best version of myself? What is the best version of myself being? And honestly, I didn't even want to record this, because I've been talking about and I've been practicing not necessarily planning these videos, but instead just when I feel a wave of emotions, when a divine download strikes, then I set the camera up and I talk about it. And like, I'm on my morning walk. My morning walks do not get interrupted ever. I literally just go on my morning walk and then I hit the gym after. So the fact that I felt so called to set the camera up and just talk about what was on my mind this morning is honoring these gut feelings, is honoring the intuition. Like, I'm not going to plan them, because I know that when it's the right time, it will work out for me to record it. And it worked out because Scruffy is here. Chat, come here. Say hi to them. We're gonna leave now. Scruffy is here. Scruffy, mwah, my beautiful love. Yes. So, yes, and then there's shade, and it's not too windy because it was very windy earlier or yesterday. So it just always works out the way it's meant to. My point here is, love yourself enough to love the perception you have of yourself. Love yourself enough to look in the mirror and know your identity. Know who you are before anyone else knows it. Know how to look at your potential and become your potential, so that you don't go the rest of your life wondering what would have happened if you lived up to your potential. And I'm saying that for me because my biggest fear is to live a mundane, regular life, to not go for any risk, to just be okay with bare minimum or the standard. That's my biggest fear, is to be so little in such a grand world, in such a grand universe. I am so fearful of that. Oh my goodness. But it's crazy because I'm living in that fear right now. I'm hidden from everyone. Like, I know who I am. Like, do you know who I am? Do you know who you're watching, right? Do you know who I am? Like, honey, I'm Jasiah. Like, and I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know the places, I know the spaces, and I know exactly just, okay, I can't even say that because, everything is subject to change, but essentially I know my identity. I know in the root, in the foundation of it all, I know what's meant for me, and I won't stop going towards that until you take away this human vessel of mine. Okay, I'm not stopping. And even then, when I reach consciousness, confirmation, I might just keep going. I might be in the spirit world with it. Oh, my hair. It's okay though. Yeah. Mwah. Say later. All right, I will talk to you very soon. Later, loves. Mwah, 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 mwah. Ah! Have you a day full of love and intention. Okay? Yeah.